Well, hello there, friend. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're installing two Von Duprin 99 series rim panics. To get started, I'm transferring some center lines off my prep. I'm going to transfer those all the way through the doors. The doors have been swung and adjusted and they're looking good. We've got a mullion installed. Just transferring over all my lines so that both the panics are going to line up with each other. Yeah, good start. Something was looking weird on the prep on that first one. Didn't look like it was quite prepped for the type of trim I have. I had a Vandal Guard night latch trim. So I went ahead and figured, hey, I'll follow the instructions and install the strike first. So here I'm unpacking my box so I can get my strike out of there. Pulling off all the little protective stuff they got all over the bar. Just leaving it behind in the box. And there was a little black shims slide in the end of the bar there. That's real easy to fall out, so I'm gonna set the bar up so that thing don't fall out. You'll see it better later, but yeah, if that little black shim comes out, your cylinder dogging security indicator won't work. Hey, there's those instructions. Throw those away. You don't need those. Just kidding. Read the instructions. Follow the instructions all the time. So here I'm taking my little strike out so that I can screw it to the mullion, and then I'll set my template up against the strike. Make sure the prep's in the right spot. And I set my there's a little strike support screw that'll go in last after it's adjusted. So here everything was lining up pretty good, like it's real close. At a certain point on a project, I trust the preps are right. This one is just I hadn't installed much out here, so center lines were good. I'm transferring the center line over, and turns out the reason the preps didn't look right to me, you'll see this in a little bit, is that the outside cylinder hole was not in the right spot. So anyway, here we're getting our holes marked, getting the 4 trim holes that we'll drill through, and then also the 2 center case support screws. And they say to drill with a number 25 bit for those. I don't have a number 25 bit, but I do have 9/64ths and I do have 5/32, so either one of those should be okay with your rounding up or rounding down. Alright, now here I'm tapping those center case support screws because the other 4 holes I'm going to be drilling all the way through the door. To do that, I'm going to use a 1/4 inch bit, and I have a drill block that helps me just keep the holes. It works really good. It helps keep the holes straight. So now when I'm done, I'll have 4 1/4 inch holes all the way through the door, and be able to step those out to the appropriate size. The inside actually is supposed to be a 1/4 inch hole, so we can just leave those alone, but the outside will step out. And man, it's super nice when all these holes come prepped from the factory. I don't think they prepped the center case support holes, what we call the 5th and 6th hole, but when the main holes come out prep, that's super nice. So these outside holes are supposed to be, I believe, 13/32 is what they say. So that's super close to 7/16, but it is not 7/16. It is 13/32, and that's what they're asking for. You see that cylinder hole there on the left looks a little off for this type of trim we're using, so get to see that here pretty quickly. Let's go ahead and grab that handle guard night latch trim. It's got a cylinder cup in there. It's got a little collar also. Now here we put it in. Oh, that doesn't line up. So I went ahead and marked what needs to be removed for that to work, and I got rid of that material so that we could continue with our install. Now here I'm going to be putting a rim cylinder, into the trim. And I got a core, a little temporary core I can use for the install to just help keep things moving. I tried to put it in upside down once, not that way, guy. Alright, and then we got the collar that comes in the box with the trim, and I'm just double checking my orientation here, making sure, okay, the pole goes that way, the tailpiece on the cylinder goes towards the hinges. Alright, we're looking good. Set it there, get my cup out. Inside with that cup also is the tailpiece guide, so I'll usually pop that tailpiece guide into the back of the panic too, so I don't lose it. It's a tiny piece. You don't have to use it, but definitely seen it not used, but helps a little. So I cut my breakaway screws to the shortest position, and in the short it works fine here, as long as you're using that collar that came in the box with the trim. I have a sip of coffee here. So I'm going to use some blue tape. I don't like using blue tape for this, but that's all I had at the moment. But if I have some stronger tape, usually one little strip will just help hold it up and down, and it lets me then come around to the other side, peek through my 1/4-inch holes, the little ones, and make sure the posts are lined up. If they're not lined up, I can move it around a little and then tape it back, and it holds it right where it's supposed to be. I'm going to cut the tailpiece here so I have 1/2 inch of the tailpiece sticking out the face of the door. I grab my magnet, give myself an extra hand for the end of the panic when I'm holding it up there, and I just put that tailpiece guide in. What else do I need, guy? Oh, I'm realizing here that while the panic's on the bench is the best time for me to install the security indicator, the cylinder dogging security indicator. There I'm removing the hex dog shaft, and I'm popping the actuator arm on. And I take a little pokey thing and I just make sure my springs are pulled back before I pop in the cylinder dogging plug. And then I test it. Yeah, so the actuator arm's in. There's that little black piece you don't want to lose. But the actuator arm, you can put it on when the doors, or when the panic's on the door, but it's just much easier to put it on right here, I feel. And I opened my screw pack. I grabbed all the brass colored screws because those are the right length. I popped that onto the tailpiece, and then I mount it to the door with the 5th and 6th screw holes, those what they call the center case support screws. I find it's much easier to mount it to the door with those, and then use a screwdriver to line up my trims and get all my trims started. They don't have you do it this way in the instructions, but to me this is way easier, because when you go to put the this also makes sure that your tailpiece is right in the center of the prep that comes in the door. So yep, tightening those in. That's good, looking good. And it latched, that's good. So at this point I'm gonna go open up my other panic, because once I get both the panics on the door, it's just, I can basically, if I can do two things if I can do the same thing at the same time to each door, I like to do that rather than only taking one door 100% and then starting the next door. You don't have to do it. I don't think I'm gaining much by doing it that way, but you know. And you got a lot of these to do. You gotta, find ways to make it fun, I guess. Fun. Oh my goodness. Alright, opening this up, stripping off the clear stuff. Don't lose the little, I gotta find out what that little black thing's called on the bar that I always am losing. Don't want to lose it. Now I'm gonna take my trim that's got no cylinder prep. I'm saving these instructions here later so I can look at them when I do the voiceover. At least try to call stuff by the right name. So the instructions for the security indicator don't tell me what that thing's called, but I'm sure I've seen the name for it somewhere. Here I'm opening up my screw packs from the clear side. No screws left behind, and I'm stripping out all the brass colored screws because those screws are 1 inch, and those are the screws that are going to work for everything on an 1 3/4 door that doesn't have a shim kit or a glass bead kit. And yeah, for all the trims I'm usually installing, I'm setting aside the roller, or not the roller, but the strike 3rd screw and its little locking plate. Now pop this guy in, and this is why I tape it in, because they like to just fall right back out. Gravity, gravity. And then I got them in, make sure my posts are lined up, and I can move it around right then and make sure it's all lined up so that those screws will thread in just fine. I got my magnet on the door to give myself a helping hand, and here I'm going to do the cylinder dogging security indicator hardware again. I got the hardware to mount the cylinder. I'm going to pull the hex plug that comes in it out, pop the actuator arm in, make sure those springs that hold it in are all the way to the side, and then put the cylinder dogging plug in, and then should test it. It doesn't look like I tested, but I must be pretty confident it's going to work. I'm always putting the box behind the door, especially when I was drilling it earlier. You don't want to drill into the stucco, right? That's right, guy. Don't do that. Alright. Now we're going to locate these with just the regular screwdriver, and oh man, nice and easy. No cross threading. Going in super smooth. Especially on this type of trim, I would not want to use an impact driver. Like when you look at how those posts are attached to the back of this trim, you want to be, I'm sure they're strong, but I think a screwdriver is a better option. No, I think I closed these all the way since I do have a key. Oh, hey, they both close and lock. Very nice. Open her back up. Now, we're almost there. Just work on finishing them up. Hey, that's backwards. Put it the other way, guy. Alright. Yep, we're going to work on finishing these up. We're going to put the end cap mounting brackets on. And I take a number at the head there and just transfer it over. I know that's gonna be straight with the head of the door, and I got the heads of the doors looking good. They're lined up with each other, and it may or may not be level, but they're gonna look straight, and they're gonna be close to level. I'm sure, very close. So I'm gonna open this pack. Hey, there's a screw pack inside a screw pack. It's like Inception. It's a dream within a dream. All right. See what we got. So you got and then I got all the screws opening from the clear side to make sure I don't throw a little tiny screw away. Perfect. All right. We got the end cap mounting bracket, the end cap, and we got all the trim little cover plate screws. I'm gonna mark and drill all those. I'm probably using a 5/30 seconds here. I kind of move the bar up and down just to make sure my chuck can get in there. And since I have the 5/30 seconds bit out, I'm gonna drill the 3rd hole for the strike as well. I'm gonna drill that hole all the way to the right on this case here, all the way to the edge of the little slot in the middle. That one's up. So all the way towards the outside, because if anything, these and now I'm tapping with a 1024. If anything, those strikes are going to need to move out once you get all your seals, maybe even a mullion seal on the door. That strike's going to need to move out. So I drill that hole all the way towards the edge so that we can adjust it the maximum amount out. Now putting the end caps in with the, I'm using the brass colored 1-inch screws here. In the instructions they say it's the silver 3/4 inch screws, but these are much easier to, I always have lots of those brass ones in all the packs. So hey, let's install the cylinder into the cylinder dogging security indicator. There's the mounting hardware, which is a cylinder locating washer, a cylinder collar, and a cylinder lock nut. Let's see. Normally you have to hand these or at least flip the indicator around. This is the first time I think I've had them come out of the box exactly how they're supposed to be, which was kind of cool. It's not hard to flip them around, it's a little spring on the back. So here now I'm getting my mortise cylinders, and these are cylinders that have the cam already set up to be flipped, so that once the core is in, the cam will be sticking outside the cylinder itself, and we'll show you that. That's what it needs to look like. Now I'm just seeing I got the right one, and I'm going to have the cam towards the center case of the panic, and then we're going to take the cylinder locating washer. Actually, I need to put the collar. I put the cylinder collar that comes with the bag on upside down to make sure it is the right depth with how the cylinder comes, and I tighten that cylinder lock nut. And then I'm going to put the core in, because if I put the core in first, you'd have to turn the key to then mount it onto the thing. It all makes sense. You gotta trust the process. Slap it on there, and there's that little black thing that's super important. I'm gonna find the name for that, I swear. If that's not in there, that thing don't work. Alright, now, and also if the end cap's not on, it's not gonna work. So to test it, you need to have the end cap on. Hey, it's unlocked. Hey, it's locked. Pull the cord, do it again. No time for dilly-dallying. We got work to do. Alright, I put the collar on, then I put the locating washer, then I put the cylinder lock nut, tighten that bad boy up, pop the core in, with the cam flipped, cam's flipped, sticking out. Let's see, let's see, pop her in there. It just pops in, right? There it is, it's popped in. Put the end cap on. Well, you know, we're coming down to the end of this install. We're almost there. How about we test it, guy? Unlocked or dogged? Locked, undogged. Looking good. Alright. We're gonna put those put the center case cover screws in. All 4 of them. Hopefully we didn't lose any. Don't drop one of those in the gravel. Do not drop one of those in the gravel. Alright. Yeah, I think that's about it. So we're looking good. That was 2 Von Duprin 99 series panics, and now I'm just I'm loosening the 2 screws on the strike so that I can install the 3rd screw, which has the little locating plate that, you know, that has little teeth that go in there, making sure it's in a good spot. I think that was a little loose, so I'll tighten it back up a little. We're gonna adjust those. We'll have a final adjustment on those once all the hardware is in and all the sweeps are on, all the seals. But yeah, putting that back on, make sure those screws are tight. Customer is going to be able to lock up their building, turn the heater on maybe if it's cold, turn the AC on if it's hot. Yep, that's it. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.